Hello and welcome everybody to this DevCentral Connects. My name is Boo. I am a community evangelist with F5's DevCentral community team. We run community.f5.com, so make sure you visit that, especially if you're an F5 customer, of course. That's where you'll want to go to be able to connect with the community. We have message forums and we have technical articles, so you will be able to learn how to extract the most amount of value from your F5 products and stay up to date on what you can do with your F5 products as well. On this podcast, we actually have chats with folks around the industry, and today I'm really excited to have on Evgeniy Kharam. Evgeniy is a cybersecurity consultant and author as well, so we'll be talking about his book in just a moment here. But otherwise, I just wanted to remind folks, you will want to hit subscribe, hit like, leave comments on this, whether you're watching on YouTube, on LinkedIn, or you're listening from your favorite podcast player. It helps us out quite a bit. And also, I will encourage you to follow me on social media. So all of my handles should be associated with my name, Boo Lam, or @BooLam. And then there's also Jason Rom, another one of our community evangelists, and you will see him on things like Build It Live, which is a live stream where he goes on and codes with the community. And you'll also find Aubrey King, who is covering topics around security and AI. And he has a podcast called AppSec Monthly that you'll want to check out as well. So having said all that, let's go ahead and bring on fellow Canadian, Evgeniy. Evgeniy, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. Very happy to be here today. You have a very good way to introduce yourself. And I think F5 doing a very good thing to connecting to the audience, connecting to people, getting the feedback and have this two-way communication to understand what people want, what people want to go to, and how we can help them as well.
Yeah, that plays right into soft skills. And I think you've developed your soft skills over time. I think a lot of people who develop their soft skills just kind of go about and just figure it out on their own. So maybe you can give us a little bit of your background, because that probably plays into all of the learnings that you've had over the years.
Definitely, thank you. So I've been around for quite a long time. I started my IT career in Israel Navy. When I finished the army in Israel 5 years, I went to a small company called Checkpoint, and I actually started my cyber in QA. It was a very strange way to start because I kind of understood and was under the impression that everybody in cyber know how to debug kernel, know how to understand all the packets inside. When I moved to Canada 2 years after, I was just kind of surprised that apparently I know how to debug the kernel and understand everything TCP related on which interface, but I don't know how to build a firewall policy because I was in QA with like two
Mm.
rules: allow, deny, very basic stuff. So definitely was interesting to come to Canada, work for a company called Horjoy Group, where I was there for 16 years. Rising from being a firewall engineer to managing several teams and professional services field, network security, endpoint security, same, a bit of cloud as well. So it gave me a really good overview of how everything is working. Having said this, as a second-time immigrant, as someone with an accent, as someone that used to speak very quickly, and sometimes still do, sometimes it will mumble and be very scared to communicate. It was quite a challenge. I knew what I want to do. I knew the architecture. I knew how clustering worked, but it's a bit of a different challenge to explain to someone why active is bad in firewall and why active backup is better for a variety of reasons and what is the logic behind it and what does it mean. So I learned slowly without thinking about this to do more metaphors, to do
Mm.
examples from real life, to explain technical ideas in a different language. And in one point, I clearly remember this, probably around 10 years ago. I was explaining to the CIO why they need to upgrade their endpoint security. And he kind of smiled because there was a lot of respect and he knew my technical abilities. And he's like, Evgeny, in the business terms, why do I need an antivirus? And I'm like, uh, I realized it was a tricky question, and I knew he's smiling because he knew I will not have an answer. It's like, come back later on this week and explain to me in a business language why do I need to spend $500,000 on this particular product. This wasn't kind of like light, like, okay. Not just this part, not just translating technical to simple language. I need to translate technical to business language, depend who I'm communicating as well. And slowly, slowly, step by step, many pieces, like a puzzle, like a building blocks, came to one part for me to become a better human being as I am, learning how to speak slowly. I realized at one point that if I turn the passion like to full crank, like
Mm,
have a dial, is that people are like, oh my God, his English is not perfect. And you know what? Texas was a very hard place for me to be because people are like, what he's talking about? I don't
mm,
understand anything. But people felt that I'm talking about something important. People felt my energy almost like catching fire. Is this architecture? He's so passionate about it. It's probably makes sense. So all these small pieces that we'll talk more about them is what's turned to be for me soft skills. It was I later on was teaching people I was managing, and right now talking and teaching and educating many other people as well.
mm. Yeah, it sounds like you have enough to write a book about it. And so I will attach a link for that, but you've got a book and I'm going to grab one. So that's on Amazon, I believe.
Amazon, and thanks God, my name is quite unique, so you're not
Mm,
able to find many people like that. And if you
fantastic.
see on the bottom of the book, there's building blocks because every chapter is a building block, something that's going to help you with asking questions. Maybe have a video set up, maybe understand your voice, maybe understand how to do research online. And it's not just sales, because it's
Mm,
applicable to working in a team as well, and also applicable for customer success, because these
mhm,
folks need to spend a lot of time with customers, and churn is quite an important factor for cybersecurity and IT as well.
mhm. Yeah. And I think there's twofold to this too. So maybe if we break this down, even, looking at different aspects of your career. So when you're at Checkpoint, for folks who are not aware, I would assume that most listeners and viewers would be aware, but Checkpoint is a cybersecurity vendor. Back in those days, when you date yourself there 20 years ago, they would have been primarily focused on firewall at that point. So gateways out there. And internally, there's the application of soft skills as far as your teammates, your management, adjacent teams, quite often projects that people want to do. And if that project involves a significant amount of time or involves a certain amount of budget, then you have to go to the business to be able to request, hey, I need to carve out 50% of my time to do this thing. Oh, Evgeny, you were hired to do this, but you want 50% to do this. And you are also asking for a bunch of money to light this project up. So I'm assuming you've run into scenarios like that internally, and then externally, you've talked about some sales scenarios too of, hey, I have a product that does all of this stuff and all the features look great, but to your or to the question that was posed to you, how does this affect my business? And so there's the inside and outside aspect of it as well. Maybe do you want to pick one of those paths and we
Well,
can
yeah,
kind of start unpacking from there?
we'll do both because fundamentally, the way you describe it, and I agree 100%, we all in sales. This could
Hmm.
be I want a different desk. I want more money for the project. I want more money as for me. I want I have an idea for a new project. Just I need you buy in. Which restaurant we're gonna go in the evening, and many, many, many other different things. It's mean we need to do something to make it happen. This could be a story. This could be the beginning. This could be connecting to the other person in the level they understand and explaining also not in the level in the ways I understand information, because if I like to consume information in my mind using visuals or audios or like working, it doesn't mean you will receive information in the same level. So I need to understand when I presenting to you my ideas externally or internally, what is the best way to do it. Don't just assume I need to show you presentation. Don't assume I need to show you how it's going to work. Maybe I need to touch your feelings, how you're going to feel, what's going to happen. Maybe I need to touch your audio, what you will listen, and how it will change your life. There's many, many different aspects. And because in many cases, we now work over Zooms, Google Meets, Teams, it's harder because I have four screens. I can talk to you, and you right now see my eyes because I use a teleprompter, but my teleprompter is actually mirrored to my laptop. I
Mm,
still see your eyes, but you now see side of my face. So we don't have a connection right now. And in a physical space, we will have better connection. You're not going to be on the phone. I'm not going to be on the other screen. Right now, in the physical space, if I have a pen and I'll go left, sorry, right in my case,
mhm.
am I eating spaghetti or I'm writing notes? There's many changes that happen from this lack of focus. And why it's important? Because if I'm pitching you an idea, I want to make sure you're listening to me. I want to make sure you're not like, yeah, that's amazing. Oh my God. Yeah, very good idea.
Mhm.
Like you need to be able to do that. I need to be able to connect you. Many factors goes there. And again, internal and external.
Yeah, that very last point there too. I was just reading a book, and I always hear this repeated over and over again. But a lot of the actions that you take are based on feedback. And so, like you said, if the screen is just this and you're not seeing what's out here, and we're also not connecting even face to face or physically, you dramatically reduce the amount of feedback when in that interaction. So you can't always pick up on the body language. Maybe I'm twiddling my thumbs down here, you don't know, and indicators of boredness, or sometimes people don't even turn their cameras on, which I was like that in 2019. 2020 I started to turn my camera on a lot more for video calls, but just that kind of interface that you would normally get in person might be like that. But even if I just back things up too, you might already run into folks like this, where I wouldn't say you're typical technology person, but sometimes people have the stereotype in their head of a developer who's sitting hunched over their keyboard, and they don't really have any sunlight in the room that they're in, and they don't really talk to anybody, and they're in a shell even. So even that type of interaction, physical interaction with other people, they might be a timid, introverted type person. Maybe that's a starting point of, when you say building blocks, I almost think that might be the first building block, is coming out of that shell.
But also, you mentioned about interaction. It's also guided and being guided.
Mm,
So guiding people and being guided. In many of the calls, not just sales. Let's say I'm working with you and I'm telling you, oh, we need to spend money on this new lights because we want to use XYZ, and we also need a teleprompter and whatever it is, we need some new switches to test RFI, or maybe like a load generator.
mm,
Did I ask you before, like, Boo, I have a new project, a new idea. Is there a better way to present the idea to you? Do you want facts? Do you want to get to the point? Do you want to get the business case? Do you want to see how it's going to generate us more money, or how I'm going to save it more money? Like, I can ask you this question, and people just assuming instead of what's the best way to do it.
mhm. Absolutely. Solutioning.
Solutioning, yes. So this is communication number like one-on-one when I'm asking you. And at the same time, when you work with the customer, and this is something very important for customer success and engineering as well. So you're working on a problem. And I see it a lot. I'm missing this a lot in some people. You're so consumed on solving the problem for a customer that you forget that the customer has no idea what's happening.
Mhm.
If you ever heard the 911 calls with like ambulance paramedics, they always talking to themselves almost. Why? Because somebody on the line need to hear what's happening. They're basically saying what they're doing. Now, I'm not telling you need to do that, but when you talk with the customer, you can guide the customer, Mr. Customer, this is what's going to happen now. We're going to go triage the problem. We're going to get back to you in 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. We're going to update you every X amount of minutes on what's happening. So you're kind of explaining to them what's going to happen, and then hopefully following up and explaining. It's already like, okay, I'm in a good care. Okay, I don't know what's happening. They now less stressed because you guided them to what's happening. And even so, your mind is completely not there. You're completely focusing on solving the problem, but they don't know your mind. They don't know what's happening on the other end.
Mhm. All of this, in when we explain it, or when you explain it, it makes sense. One thing that I'm wondering about is, and you've been through this because you've been in management before, and everybody puts good communication skills on a job requisition, and they put that out there, and they want people to say, if you want to work in this job, it's you're working with a lot of teammates across the company, or maybe it's external facing. Have you developed any sort of techniques for evaluating somebody's communication skills? And sometimes people put their best foot forward during an interview or communicating back and forth, and then they get going, and then you find out, oh, I didn't look deep enough to figure out
Yeah,
if it was actually there.
definitely, definitely. I love the question. It's a very, very important question. Let's think about soft skills versus hard skills because we didn't even touch this. What's the difference? Hard skills, it's something that mathematical, chemistry, programming, in majority of the cases, we expect the same results if we do the same things, correct? In a human being, people some called human skills, soft skills, it's not always the case. I can ask you today how you're doing, you'll tell me I'm good. I can ask you tomorrow how you're doing, and you maybe gonna be amazing or maybe not, depending on what happened with you this morning. But if I'm gonna ask you, Boo, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Number four, you probably like punch me in the face, Evgeny. Why are you asking the same question? While
Right.
if you go to ChatGPT, he will to reply the same idea. Doesn't have emotional feelings, at least yet. What's important? Because we want to understand how people will react in different scenarios. Many cases, people tell, hey, present me this idea, explain me how it's working. And I like, in a way, to help people. I'm going to challenge you right now. I'm going to put you and press you a bit and put you out of the comfort zone. So I even, in many cases, tell them what's going to happen. Why?
Mm,
Because I want to see how they work under stress.
mm,
Under stress, it's something that happened at work eventually. So if you're panicking and throwing everything into the air and you're done, I don't want you there. And then I can go somewhere. Okay, tell me something from your real life, hobbies, or something that you're comfortable with. And then maybe do a different scenario when I know they potentially don't know and see how they react, how they gonna uh, kind of understand the problem. And would they gonna try to make stuff up? Would they try to mumble? Would they stress? Would they actually answer nicely and honestly? This is one part. Second part, and it is very, very important in, I guess, in cybersecurity in general, but also in soft skills. Curiosity, and not just cybersecurity, IT. If you're not curious enough how something is working, then how would you go in research? Curiosity is enabling many things to understand and go deeper. And curiosity is also the part that enable other stuff like vulnerability. If I'm hiring you and you don't know how to be vulnerable, you don't know how to ask for help. This could be a simple question. Boo, if you have a problem with something, what would you do? And you may say, oh, I'm going to go online and read. Okay, you didn't
mm,
find the answer. What are you going to do? I'm going to ask friends. I'm going to more do this. So like, till far you would go to be a cowboy until you're actually going to ask for help. And what's important depend, because in my mind, if we're working with the customer, time to resolution is most important. We want to make sure the customer is happy and we want to fix the problem we're working on or show the solution. So this is also important part to understand how you're working. Asking people how easy it's for you to get out of the comfort zone and asking a difficult question. A difficult question could be, we just finished this call. I want to understand, are you satisfied with the call? Do you like work we did? Did I help you? People may lie and tell yes, it's everything is good, but
mm,
people might tell you, oh, like, you know what? I think I didn't did everything I could on this call. Can you give me a tip? How can I serve you better? This is quite a hard question to ask. You become vulnerable, and somebody will tell you like you're awful or you want to do X, Y, Z. And all these things to understand how people will react and how they work with people may lead you to understand how they're gonna talk to other teams, how's he gonna work with rejection, how's he gonna work with other A players or B players, or with people that are different than them. And I think it's fine and totally cool that we have different people in the team.
Mm. When you were actually, you mentioned one of your previous roles, you were, up into the executive level. So you had teams reporting into you. Did you observe some of this interaction and good and bad interactions between your own teams and maybe scenarios where you might have had to resolve something or teach a lesson around soft skills?
So what we usually did is we did lunch and learns when
Mm.
there was two types. One is lunch and learns with everyone we can. One, it was connecting with the team leads to understand what do they see in the teams and what kind of dynamics and what we can improve. And in lunch and learns, we went over scenarios. You go to a customer, you see that, what do you do? The customer tell you that, what can be done there as well. So I saw this part, but also where I absorb problems, it was doing one-on-one. So I'll do one-on-one with people and we'll dive in not just to technical part, not just to problems at the company or what are we working on or the initiatives. Is, hey, how are you doing? What's motivate you? What do you like? What do you think missing? How do you interact with other people? If you need help, who do you go to from the team? Do you provide help to other people if you're more mature and been a longer time? This is where I was able to learn what's happening and who do I need to kind of potentially push higher or not, vice versa. Hey,
Mm.
chill. You don't need to. It's not about how smart you are. It's about the entire team.
Right. That's interesting too. And, as part of that, to dig into it, is do you regard a different level of soft skills when you're talking to individuals on your teams for promotion to what's the difference between someone who's a good communicator at a team level and then a good communicator as a leader?
Think leaders is a different level because I used to kind of have a joke, do what I say, not what I do, that I learned eventually, like this is a bad joke because I need to lead by example and not just tell you what to do. So I kind of stopped using the joke a long time ago because as a leader, it's not just about you. It's about the other people. And honestly, no one longer kind of cares how smart you are. You want to help other people to do their work and become smarter and kind of do the stuff potentially you cannot do. Also, as a leader, again, this is my view, okay? Some people may disagree in some cases. You're one of the main objective as a leader, especially in a professional service organization, is enable the people to do their job. And it's mean not just gives them training, not just gives them better laptops or like Amazon gift cards. It's mean shields them from BS, excuse my French, that maybe come from sales, that maybe come from other people, to give them the space and you will deal with other people to shield them. This is why in many cases, I ask the other team, if you have an issue with any of my people on the team, please talk to me. Let's understand what's happening. They're focusing on doing the job. If we need to fix something, we can do it all together. Not all the time. But yes, as a leader, you kind of stepping back of what's my own agenda and including in some cases your friends, because the friends you used to have a team are no longer your friends in some cases because your
Mm.
mind should be more on the business. Yes, you can go drinking with them. I'm not saying you don't need to be buddies with them, but you need to understand how do I put business on a higher level and not just our friendship.
Mm. That's interesting too. I'm assuming there's a building block in your book around that idea of communicating with others, but aligning what you say with the business as well.
There's a chapter about teams. There's a chapter
Mm.
about how teams work. I do focus on sales a lot, sales teams, how the sales engineer should work with the salesperson. But honestly, this can be the same between many other teams and many other ideas. You can take same ideas and put them anywhere you want. This could be, how do I do research when I want to pitch something to you? How do I do, which hooks can I use to connect to you on a personal level? Can I understand who you are, find what's motivate you, and talk about this? You're probably familiar with the idea you come to a party or an event, and there are some people that you want to talk to them right away after 5 minutes of conversation or even two, and some less. Why? Because you found something in common. Like if you and me will see each other on a party and you know I have a podcast, we'll talk about media right away. Which camera do you use right now? What's the latest upgrade you learn? What do you do for editing? This could be golf. This could be a car. This could be many different things. And all this is enabling you to create a personal connection with someone, not just there, as anyone in the company.
Mhm. And what you're saying too, everyone essentially is sales, whether you think about it as sales or not. But for us in our community, I know a lot of our practitioners, they will see something like F5 App World, which is our conference coming up in February 2025. It'll be in Vegas at La Fontainebleau, and folks need to be able to communicate to their management to say, hey, I need a week off, or I need a
Yes.
week to go here. I need some money to go here. But they need to figure out why does my boss care if I go or not? We've actually provided a little justification letter that might help people out. But I see that very much for our community is something that they need to figure out how to
So this is
communicate.
going to be a very amazing use case about how do I sell this internally? Do I tell, oh my God, boo, I want to go because it's going to be so cool. I'm going to spend time with my friends. Ah, I'm going to be a lot of drinking and partying. Probably not. I'm going to learn the new version of F5. Okay. Or we actually planning an upgrade to new hardware next year. I want to understand how it's going to work. Why? Because I think there are going to be many different business decisions and many business values for us. We will able to go faster in this particular environment. May solve us how to do backups faster, have less downtime, more reliability for this particular application. So this is you want to think what your manager cares, and not just that. Your manager may need to go and sell it to his manager as well. So give him or her the ammunition right away, what to tell to upper management makes your life easier as well.
Yeah. I am most people that I talk to, their companies are not just throwing money around right now. They're being very careful. And so I imagine lots of people have requests to go to different things and need to be able to communicate and have those soft skills to explain that kind of stuff. I will say that I am on the CFP selection committee. And so we just went through and looked at all of the talks that are going to be given and selected the ones that we thought would be best for the audience. So I'll say to all the audience, I have personally put my stamp of approval on the talks that will be given and feel that they will serve the needs for anybody who's attending coming up here. And we have a good mix of cybersecurity, network operations, AI has a focus as well. I know everybody talks about AI, but now is the time where people are architecting for AI, and it's like all rules kind of went out the window, except when you look at it, it's still an application. So you still have protections that you would normally see, and then you have to add on protections on top of that. So that's my plug. I'll stop selling at this point, but and we'll go back to your book actually. So this sounds great. How long is this book? Like, is this a big investment for folks time
No,
wise? And
no, I designed it like relatively short. It's 130 pages. I in my mind was I don't want long book. I don't want to repeat myself. So every chapter is relatively short. Every chapter is a bit different. It's like a building some of the foundation, what's happening and what you can improve as well. So actually it's like 3 hours if you compare it to audiobook. I am
okay,
working on an audiobook. This is the first time
nice.
I'm talking about that. So it's gonna be audiobook before probably for Christmas. I hope so.
Fantastic. Very cool. Um, Otherwise, Evgeny, you are a man who is up to a number of different things. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to let people know where they can go find you, other types of activities where they might see you engaged in, and
Yeah.
how they get involved with that kind of stuff.
Thank you. So always easy to find me on LinkedIn. If you just type Evgeny Kharam, Evgeniy, last name Kharam, Kharam. Happy to connect. If you have questions, happy to answer them as well. If you find more about the book, softskills.tech.ca or .com. All the information is there as well about the book where you can get it and the blogs. The other part, we are doing our third year of skiing and snowboarding of cybersecurity networking event.
Mm.
This is actually was a test scenario for the book and soft skills. What if you put practitioners in an environment when they love cyber and love skiing or snowboarding, gives them food and beer. Guess what? They were able to connect by themselves. We don't need to do anything. Amazing atmosphere, very low key, very, very communicatable. February 27th, this is when we're doing our third event. We did the summer event first year, bikes and hikes in cybersecurity. Was a lot of fun as well. I also have two podcasts, Security Architecture Podcast and Cyber Inspiration. And I'm working on the third one, going to be soft skills related.
Wow, very cool. Very busy guy. I'll get you to send me all that stuff and we will put it into the show notes so that everybody can connect with you. It's been great it's been great having you on, Evgeniy. Thank you very much. And hopefully we have you on again soon. People can pick up your book and read it in the meantime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Great to have Evgeniy on. Somebody who I have followed for a while now and being connected to, and he's got a ton of experience, especially somebody who's been in cybersecurity from the checkpoint days, because those early days were kind of just like when cybersecurity was being defined. I felt at that point, cybersecurity up until then was like a network engineer who happened to manage firewalls, and that was when things were really taking off. So somebody from the ground floor has a lot of experience if they come from that area. Again, we have App World, F5 App World coming up in Las Vegas, and we also have some road shows for that coming up as well. So all of that information is on f5.com/appworld. I believe I will double check that and make sure that that's in the show notes. Otherwise, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, all of those things, whether it's myself, Jason, or Aubrey. And again, we are the DevCentral community. So if you go to community.f5.com, you'll be able to find our message forums on there and talk with other community members, communicate with them on there. And we have our technical articles as well. We have our YouTube channel. So all sorts of resources for our customers to be able to get way more value out of your F5 than what you originally bought it for. Otherwise, thank you very much, community, for checking this one out. And we will see you on the next one. Bye now. Well, thanks for checking out that video. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. While you're down there, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. You might want to check out one of these videos over here. And if you haven't already, go check out community.f5.com. This is where all the DevCentral Connects hosts hang out, as well as the rest of the community. It's free to sign up, and we'll see you there.